Greta.
Hi, Greta.
So that's Emma. Say hi to Bill. Daniel. Yeah, I'm upside down yawning. Look at that. That's nice. Bill, what are you interviewing me for?
Disruptive Heroes.
Disruptive Heroes. We like that. This is Disruptive Ping Pong. This is the developer cave. Chuck, where that's Dan. Say hi to Bill.
Hi, cave dweller.
That's Jeff, one of my co-founders. New Haven has had a pretty large impact on me. The city itself, I grew up here, and for those who aren't familiar, it's a population of now about 120,000 people, and it's a really, really diverse community. We have some very wealthy people. We have some very poor people. We have some really safe and beautiful neighborhoods and some really run-down, dangerous neighborhoods. I think I've kind of seen what can be good and what can be bad, and have probably subliminally always been interested in making the bad better. Certainly becoming a homeowner 6 years ago had something to do with my personal attachment to the neighborhood I live in a more meaningful and conscious way. But I think it did, probably some of the stuff was brewing in me personally for a long time. SeeClickFix is a web platform and mobile application that lets citizens anywhere in the world report anything in their community that needs to be broken or fixed to their governments or anybody else who can help resolve it. So the basic example is you take out your smartphone, you take a photo of a pothole, it gets the GPS location, it documents that pothole on a map, and then it sends email alerts or data feeds to your local public works director, maybe your neighborhood group if it's a crime or some kind of non-public works related issue, and 60-ish% of the time it gets resolved, and then the issue status gets marked as closed. In some cases it literally is with the people who are into the bricks and the mortar, and they can actually close out the issue right from the field from their mobile device, being alerted either directly by the citizen or through a work order that's created in the central city hall office. But more times than not, the communication the feedback loop to a citizen comes from that central office, and they're either just responding back to us in email, and we publish that publicly, or they comment on the site, and that comment comes in as either as a status change, so it's gone to acknowledged or closed, or it comes back just as a comment saying, we need more details about this, or we're going to be fixing this in a week, or we don't have any money, we can't fix this. But either way, that comment's public, and hundreds of people, thousands of people can view the issue. From the city's perspective, there's a number of benefits. One, it's expensive to take a phone call, so anything that comes in through the web saves money. Two, the quality of the data that comes in through the web is much better. You can structure the questions, and you can collect photos and GPS locations. So that's beneficial. Now, the issue of it being public, of course, scares some, but the benefit in it being public is that you're showing accountability, you're creating efficiency by having multiple people be able to vote on the same pothole as opposed to creating multiple tickets. I went from years of calling in graffiti to without any resolution to literally using it for the first time and getting not a response, not just a text, verbal response, but actually getting the graffiti removed within hours. So, it really works, and we hear stories like this all the time. And a lot of the times you're hearing stories from people who are like totally connected to councilmen, and by all of the corrupt political means should have been able to get things fixed with the wrong system, and they're saying, oh, we couldn't get that fixed for 3 years, and all of a sudden, the street lights are back on, or the storm drain's cleared, or whatever it is. So, if those people were discouraged by the system, they're really well connected. You can imagine how the disenfranchised feel and how hard it's going to be to get over that hurdle. But that's what we're up against, and that's the challenge we're trying to. That's the great experiment that's happening over here. Who's getting fixed at all was number one. Number two was how they got fixed, and because we'd see citizens. One of the first examples, one that we like to speak to a lot, which we'd like to see more of it, is that there's this boat abandoned in this park. How boats get into parks, I don't know, especially when there's no water. Actually, there's some water, but still, boat shouldn't be in the park. It's off in the woods. Someone dumped it, and three different runners. Joggers started commenting on SeeClickFix that they had seen this. They organized on the site to get together and pull the boat out of the woods, and then the Parks Department took it away. So this whole idea of a citizen as a fixer is, really powerful, and especially because, of course, the premise of SeeClickFix is that you're going to report something, and likely someone else is going to fix it. It's off in the woods. Someone dumped it, and three different runners. Joggers started commenting on SeeClickFix that they had seen this. They organized on the site to get together and pull the boat out of the woods, and then the Parks Department took it away. So this whole idea of a citizen as a fixer is, really powerful, and especially because, of course, the premise of SeeClickFix is that you're going to report something, and likely someone else is going to fix it. So these people came to a site where they thought that they were, I presume, thought that someone else was going to help them, and they ended up helping out someone else. So that's really powerful. I've also been really interested in how cities use the tool in a somewhat disruptive manner as well, because, of course, when you think of the public space and you think of something being broken, the average citizen thinks it's the city's fault. And many cities are willing to assume that responsibility and then deal with the utility company or deal with the private business that's affecting the public space or whatever it may be. But they don't have a great system of holding them accountable. And so we saw the city manager in New Haven holding AT&T accountable for vandalism on some of their hardware in the public space. And really, to this day, 3.5 years later, AT&T still responds to citizens. So the city's totally taken themselves out of the picture there. The biggest lesson, I think, would be that when you are trying to change large bureaucratic entities, you can't ask for permission, and you have to be really polite when you're asking forgiveness. We've definitely done better when we're polite. But if we had waited for any of the cities that are now using SeeClickFix waited for the government to give the citizens permission, it wouldn't have happened. We really depend on a pull strategy and citizens letting their governments know about us by actually using the tools. From a startup perspective, and bring on co-founders that are smarter than you. That was my number one lesson. And trick them into building the site for you. Building the site with you by trying to build it yourself and failing miserably so they can show you that they can do it better. We have a long history of that here. I think everyone should learn how to code. I really do. I mean, unless you want to be a doctor or a lawyer.
And why is coding so important?
Because there's so much innovation that can happen on the web, and if you want to innovate, you probably have to be your own technical co-founder. I'm stealing that line actually from a class that I'm taking at Yale called Hack Yale, and I think that's actually a perfect example. I think at the university, previously 60% of graduates ended up in finance. And obviously that career path is not the chosen one these days. And so in a response to that, these guys started this class this year. No credit. It is endorsed by the president of the university. And it is on campus, but you don't receive credit for it. And it is quite a bit of work. It's called Hack Yale. They promoted it for maybe 6 weeks, and they got 750 students to apply, which is close to 10% of the student body at Yale. I think that really says something. So, clearly it's hard to get a job. This is 25% of college graduates between, the graduated in the last 8 years or whatever are out of work. 22%. It's a humongous number. So it's either occupy a startup or occupy Wall Street. And I think I think it's the former because if you create a company, you get to make the rules and decide to pay people the right way and treat them the right way. I think learning programming is a good step towards doing that.